Hello, YouTube. Sirdragonx here. Have you ever wondered what you're supposed to call yourself when you reside in Mexico? Am I an expat, immigrant, gringo? Well, we're going to discuss the actual terms used in the Mexican culture, and it may surprise you in the video coming up next. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to touch on a controversial topic that often leads to heated debates. I myself have even been lectured that I should never use the word expat and have been reminded on numerous occasions that I am an immigrant and not an expat. So which one is it? I previously hosted a live stream discussing the topic of gentrification in Mexico and whether it truly exists. During the discussion, I touched on how some individuals prefer not to be called expats, opting instead for the term immigrant. I elaborated that some of these individuals are so passionate about the term immigrant that they attempt to impose their views on others, arguing against the use of expats due to its perceived negative implications to the Mexican community. I went on to say that some people embrace the term immigrant to the extent where they perceive themselves as superior to those who identify as expats. They often claim to have integrated into the Mexican culture by calling themselves immigrant, which may not be that accurate of a term. Being a Mexican American and married to a Mexican, I explored the perspective from the Mexican standpoint. What do Mexicans refer to us as foreigners? What are the cultural norms in Mexico regarding this? And what does immigrant truly signify to the Mexican people? In this video, I will attempt to tackle the complex issue of self-identification for those residing in Mexico. I aim to clarify that this is more about a personal choice than a cultural integration. I'll explain the actual cultural stance in Mexico and how the term immigrant holds a different meaning than we may think for a Mexican. Our perception of an immigrant differs significantly from that in Mexico, and the differences may be surprising. Interestingly enough, Mexicans don't use the term expat, and most Mexicans aren't even familiar with the term. Ultimately, it boils down to the ideas we bring from our own culture rather than adhering to what's politically correct in the Mexican culture. It's about individual opinions, not a set of rules. What offends one person may not offend another. It's crucial to understand these differing viewpoints. It's not just about respecting the Mexican people, but it's about respecting each other. Okay, enough said about that. Now let's discuss what Mexicans culturally consider the correct term for visitors, migrants, and those who become citizens. This will help dispel myths about the usage of expat or immigrant, revealing that these terms don't align with the Mexican definition. The term immigrant is influenced more by our cultural background than by Mexican culture. So, what do Mexicans call a foreigner visiting Mexico? In Spanish, a visitor or tourist is referred to as an extranjero or turista. The term gringo is also used sometimes affectionately and other times derogatorily, depending on the context. Regarding residents, Mexicans typically refer to them by their nationality. For example, most of my Mexican family and friends call me Americano. While I understand this translates to American and that Mexico is part of America, in this context, it specifically refers to someone from the United States. The broader American identity debate is a topic for another time. The term gringo is also used, with the connotation varying based on the context. Now, let's explore the term immigrant. Many proudly wear this label, but in Mexico, it generally refers to individuals from other countries who are merely passing through on their way to another destination. For example, the influx of Central and South Americans headed for the United States to claim asylum are referred to as immigrants by the Mexican people here in Mexico. In Mexican context, immigrant doesn't imply settling in Mexico. It's more about transiting through the country. Even though Mexico has an immigration department and processes, culturally speaking, neither expat nor immigrants are terms used by the Mexican people to identify foreigners who either live here or are visiting. The crux of my argument is that the term expat and immigrant are personal labels derived from our own cultural backgrounds, not Mexican culture. Identifying as either has no significant impact on the Mexican culture. It only leads to internal conflicts among the foreign community living in Mexico. Remember, as I said earlier, Mexicans generally refer to you by your nationality or as a gringo, and in my case, as a Mexican American, sometimes as a pocho. So let's stop debating over self-labeling. Choose whatever term you're comfortable with, but understand that not everyone will share your view. Arguing over terms only causes division. The Mexican people are very well known for their unity. Consider what example you want to set in Mexico, one of unity or division. Perhaps you came to Mexico seeking greater freedom. True freedom involves expressing our opinions while respecting those of others. Let's lead by example, respecting the Mexican culture and above all, respecting each other. And last but not least, if you'd like to see a part 2 to this video where I take to interviewing several Mexican nationals to hear their opinion on the term expats and immigrant and what term they use here in Mexico, leave me a comment in the comment section below. That's it for today's video. Whether you're an expat, immigrant, gringo, or anything in between, let's cherish our diverse experiences and unite in our shared love for Mexico. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. It really helps me to make content to help you. Until next time, stay safe and stay informed.